Hello, welcome to the Tech for Good podcast. We are very passionate about two things, technology and our world. In each pod, we will be interviewing some fascinating people, business leaders, but those with a special interest in solving the biggest issues facing humanity today. Think the environment, think healthcare provision during a pandemic, think global social injustice. If you want to know more about technology's immense potential to fix and transform, then you're in the right place. In this episode, I speak to Moussa Zaghdoud. Moussa is EVP for Alcatel-Lucent Enterprises' cloud communications business. He has been instrumental to the development of ALE's Rainbow portfolio of products, which are tackling challenges in industries like education and healthcare. In the interview, Moussa talks about this mission, why he has always wanted to build technology to help people, and why when we talk about the future of tech, he believes the end user has all the power. But first, I ask Moussa about his interesting career path.
So actually, I started my studies as a physicist. I was passionate by that. I'm still, by the way, a little bit. Then I moved to more engineering studies with 2 masters in industry services and automation, a bit of robotics, and what was the beginning of the digital transformation. And I was also passionate by the entrepreneurship, not necessarily by the money, but more with the excitement and all the challenges that we need to solve when we're doing that. So that perspective, I have created 2 startups in the virtual call center domains. The purpose of those companies was to help people that had to stay home for whatever reason, disabled or landlocked, to still have a job and being part of a call center virtual company. So a lot of technology behind web automation, statistics, and this is where I learned that this is possible. And I also have been after that the lucky guy who has invented and founded Rainbow, which is today the Alcatel-Lucent cloud platform that supports all the digital transformation of our business. And of course, I'm not working alone now. I have a fantastic team with me, with passionate people. And with this journey, I ended up to be vice president of the cloud for the enterprise, and this is what I'm leading now as a day-to-day activity.
Really interesting, Moussa. I'm interested especially in how you started with your science background and became, moved into technology. Why do you think that happened? Was it was it a circumstance, do you think, or do you feel like once you started learning about, digital transformation and those kind of topics that was something you really felt passionate about?
Well, actually, I like the technology, but I like it more when it helps people and human beings to let's say to achieve great things. That's our goal, and my goal, at least when I started. And well, I thought that with this technology we can definitely do something great and at our levels for sure. And you talked about patient, right? And I think this is the right word because first of all, I think that the patient is the most important thing, and probably more important than it looks. And as human beings, this is the best fuel to our achievement, and we intend to neglect it as that aspect. But I think that yes, it helps. First of all, never giving up, uh, getting more self-confidence, and give the best of ourselves. And this is how I tried to move along the career. By the way, I recommend that to managers to look at that development of patient, because this can make miracles. Coming back to your question, I just started thinking about what is the most important thing for us as people in the society, and I just figure out that it's about 2 things mainly. It's about how we can make people gain time for life. So, which means that in that perspective, I wanted the technology to help people doing things better and quicker, learn better and quicker, heal better and quicker, rescue better and quicker, and live better and longer for that last one. And I'm sure that if you take the technologies that we have around us today, the modern technologies, they are tackling these 2 things, which is how we can make people gain time first, and how we can make them feel secured in the society. These 2 things are, to me, the pillars of what we have to do with the technologies. And let me give you one or two examples. If you take the AI, the machine learning, the big data, this is the technology that is everyone is talking about lately. And if you look at it, it's there because as human beings, we want some systems to work for us, to predict what we want to do somehow, how we can do it better. And at the end, you see that we are tackling the impatience of the individuals. That's the first example. The second example, we're talking about natural language processing. This is also very successful and famous right now within technology. This second topic also is looking at how, as a human being, I don't need to fight with technology. I want the technology to understand my language, so I speak my language, and the technology has to understand what I mean and let's say execute it. So this is the shift between the pure technology to how it is helping people and human beings in their daily lives that makes me going into that direction.
Brilliant stuff, Moose. And what you're talking about there about the blend between and how, the human race is combining with technology and learning how to work with it ultimately for a greater good. I mean, that's what we're all about here on the Tech for Good podcast. What impact do you think the pandemic has had on sort of people's awareness of the power of technology to do good? Because obviously it's a very strong example, COVID-19, of technology helping us to develop vaccines quicker, to report on a pandemic, data, all of those things. It's a great example, isn't it? Do you think we're moving now faster towards technology being used to good because of the pandemic?
I do think so, really, because in my opinion, this tech for good is not yet another trend. It is a deep awareness of all people at all levels, and that has been the case during the pandemic, where even the more recalcitrant people to the technology had to adopt it because they see that it was useful at that moment. And if you come back to the 2 points that we were mentioning previously, uh, we had to adapt immediately to the situation. So we hadn't time to lose fighting with the technology. So we needed to have something easy, intuitive, so that we can stay home, so feel secured, and still keeping working as we were at the office. So clearly here we see that this trend is really we are kind of in a virtuous circle because people understand that technology as being a way for them to do better what they do somehow, and to feel secure at the same time, right? So definitely, this is also touching something important about how people are touching this technology. So we're talking about adoption, right? So how this is easy and intuitive, because again, if we take it from a pure user experience standpoint, the technology has to adapt to us as individuals for one unique reason. It's because we are all different and we do not have the same relation with the technology. So that's why the technology has to adapt to each of us and make sure that people taking the best of this for their own benefits.
Really good stuff, Musa. You're clearly very passionate about it. And I want you to now talk about a bit about the company, your company, Alcatel-Lucent Enterprise, ALE. You seem to have found a place where you're able to bring that passion and make a real difference with some great colleagues and a great organization.
I think so. I think so because this company actually is first of all is a young startup with more than 100 years of innovation. We have seen through the different transformation phases more than 13 Nobel Prizes working for that company, so it's impressive. And we have been doing solutions for communication and connectivity. This is what we do the best, right? So, and if you look at the current situation of the modern world, it is about connecting people, objects, and processes, which is applications. So Alcatel-Lucent is clearly doing that. And this is what is supporting the digital transformation of the world on the different activity sectors, whatever we are talking about, healthcare, government, transportation, hospitality, or even education. Again, this is the same pattern. We have to connect people, object, and processes, and then inject services out there to make sure that people, again, are taking the technology for the best for their own benefits.
You mentioned Rainbow earlier, Musa. Maybe talk a little bit more about that. What is that, and what is that offering to your customers?
So Rainbow is basically a cloud platform deployed worldwide. And again, this is what the platform that is connecting humans, objects, and processes. And through that platform, we can provide all the communication and collaboration services to all the activity sectors, but in a very verticalized way, which means that we do not provide yet another collaboration solution because we have many already in the market. We are coming up with specific solutions to tackle the very important activity sectors. We were talking about healthcare, transportation, education. These are fundamental sectors where, as human beings, we all need that, right? So that's why we're concentrating here, and we're bringing what we think is the best in class in terms of communication and collaboration solutions.
I want to focus a bit on one of those pillars, Moussa, education. Now, you were heavily involved in the launch of Rainbow Classroom. Talk a bit about that and how that tackles the challenge of education and remote education as well. Something that came to the fore during the pandemic, of course.
Yes. So clearly, we have started working on that classroom even before the pandemic because we see the trend of this digital transformation. And basically, again, here it's about connecting people to objects and to existing processes and applications. So basically, Rainbow is, let's say, a solution designed for universities, colleges, or even companies, let's say, enterprise that need to give some class to their people, whatever they are, students or employees. And this solution is basically integrated in the most popular learning management systems. Here we're talking about Moodle and others, so that we give the control to the staff, to the university, to the teachers, and even to the parents, so that the student is concentrating on learning and training. That's what we do. And one of the most dimension here is the security and the confidentiality. That's the key thing. So that as a teacher, I'm building my classroom. I have the control on it. I can interact live with the students. I can also make sure that no one from outside can jump in. That's all about security. And I also give the best tools to the student so that the student is concentrating on learning better and quicker. And of course, we have all the statistics out there to make sure that we are learning also from that system to improve the whole experience. And at the end of the day, we are talking about user experience where we have to come up with the best thing, again, to ensure the adoption and to get the benefit of these technologies.
Yeah. Maybe talk a bit about that last point, Musa, the user experience. So obviously the most important thing here is the students being able to learn, quicker and more effectively. Talk a bit about how your technology helps that.
Well, here we are talking about bringing first of all the real time interactions. So talking about audio, video, and all these things. But more than that, we are bringing AI and IoT to make sure that we integrating all these elements into one user experience, so that the user himself again is not fighting against technology. He's just concentrating on his part of activity. If we are talking about teachers, their courses, making sure that it's delivered the right way and getting feedback from students. If you take the students, they have access to all this material anytime. They can collaborate together, even without the teacher. So it's all virtualized. And then we have also the parents that can get in and get the results and make sure that they have also the control somehow. So here we're talking again about bringing the best in class of communication, AI, and IoT technology to make sure that the classroom is going the best way, and so that people are again concentrating on the most important thing, getting to knowledge.
Hi, I'm Daniel Brigham, editor of the Tech for Good magazine. I hope you're enjoying this pod, and if you want more, why not head over to techforgood.net for some amazing and thought-provoking stories. You can read about one company's mission to use digital technologies in the fight against HIV, or learn how social media can help refugees take control of their narratives. For those insights and more, read and subscribe at techforgood.net.
It's a fascinating subject, Moussa. Do you think as we move forward in the future, education is going to become, be built on this hybrid model if technologies like this are evidence that it works?
I'm convinced about it. I'm convinced that digital will be even majority of times when we're talking about the learning process. Because if you take young generations today, they learn everything themselves through quick videos. It's amazing, right? So we cannot stop that trend. The thing is how we can adapt that technology to make sure that we are learning the right things, because everything related to the digital has a side where we have to control this data, if it's accurate, if it's true, if it's controlled. That's important, right? So, but if we are talking about let's say the distribution of how digital will be in the future regarding the education itself. To me, it will be the majority. And for the practices that we can come back to more physical presence, because the way of learning are completely different from 20 years back or even 10 years back, right? So digital will be everywhere. And by the way, if you take the metaverse that everyone is talking about, this will be also something that is going to be in the education, because we will be in virtual environment, but still having human interactions, right? So never forget that we have to keep always the human side of it, because the more we have technology, the more we need to come back to human values there.
Yeah. Really interesting, Moussa. Now, I want to get you talking as well about the other two industries you mentioned, healthcare and transportation. Obviously, very different to education. Let's start with healthcare. Can you give us a bit of an insight into how this rainbow technology is being used in healthcare?
Yeah, first of all, we're helping the hospitals and healthcare institutions communicating internally or also internally in a very secure manner. Because once we are dealing with uh, patient data, it's very critical, right? We cannot use traditional tools. We have to make sure that we are in a very structured and secured way. So this is about providing communication in the hospital, just basically as an example. The other things we do is helping the hospital to be more efficient. For example, asset management. What does it mean? It means that each of the equipment of a hospital is equipped with some technology so that we can geolocalize it. Thanks to our network division solutions, we can look at any of the equipment of the hospital and make it sure that if anyone needs it, he can find it immediately, and then gain time, again coming back to the point and making sure that the patient will be let's say treated and managed the quickest way. A lot of things around, again, connecting humans, connecting object and processing. Of course, telemedicine is also one of them, coming back to healthcare, where our technology and the development around that allows any doctor to get in touch with any patient and manage it, even remotely. So that's what that was for the education. But if you come back to if you go to other let's say sectors, we can talk specifically about transportation, but more globally, let's talk about smart cities, because transportation is part of it. Uh, we are looking at use cases to bring intelligence in these areas, be it transportation or be it basically smart cities. Let me give you an example. If an accident is happening somewhere, we have cameras that can film, that can yes, have the footage of it live. Those cameras are intelligent, so they can detect that something wrong is happening because there is an accident and this has been detected. This information can be put into rainbow notification alert, so that we know, again, something happened, and we can put people together to solve that issue of accident. We can put people like hospital, like police, like city hall, and giving them all the information to solve that accident, to immediately come and manage it, again, to make sure that we are not losing time and reducing processes, make sure that we are saving lives in that perspective. So this is what we are doing at Alcatel-Lucent Enterprise.
It sounds like a really exciting body of work that you're involved with, Moussa. How much, bringing it back to you personally, how much enjoyment, how much fulfillment are you getting out of looking at these big areas like healthcare and education and transportation, and how technology can really improve those in the future? How fulfilling is that for you personally?
Well, personally, it's to me, coming back to the patient is really yeah, it's amazing as an experience, right? Because first of all, you see that the technology, and certainly when you have been at the very beginning of this, which was my case, seeing that growing, going into these different directions, helping live a lot of our customers in these directions. So it's really amazing, and it's a great pride somehow to work also with different people. We are in a world where we need to get the best of each other, and this is what we are doing on a daily basis. Honestly, I'm still learning every day, and probably I will still learn all my life, because this is moving very quick. And again, if we come back to the technology, it's important that technology is helping me also staying up to speed about all this, because again, it's going super quick. But if you take let's just 5 years back, it's another word that we are in right now, and probably in 5 years from now we'll be in a new word. The only thing is that we have to keep all this virtual circle there, making sure that we are using that in the best way.
And I guess, Musa, the really exciting thing is you talk about 5 years into the future, a new world. How, there's so much progress to be made and so much impact that can be had with these technologies, isn't there?
Yes, for sure. Because first of all, the majority of services we going to see in 5 years, we don't know them yet. So that's exciting and amazing because we don't know what is going to happen, right? But what is important is the fundamentals. Fundamentals are going to be, again, how we're going to make people gain time, because the time is the most important thing we all have in common. That's important, right? And to do that, we need to see how this technology is going also the right way, because this is also coming with some challenges. We have a lot of data out there, and we have to make sure that this data is used the best way. So in my opinion, the next challenges we have, because the technology is there and we're going to be able to do everything, is to make sure that this technology is not taking a wrong path. That's the challenge that we have to look at. So talking about security, confidentiality, data protection, and so on and so forth, privacy, these kind of things.
Are you confident that the industry will come together to make sure that you stay on that path? Because obviously it's so competitive. There are so many players, so many technologies. It's like it's a big job, that, isn't it?
I think that it's a challenge, but we will have to come to this. Why? Because what's different from 20 years back is that the end user is making the decision. I'm making the decision. You're making the decision. So if we both do not agree to use one solution, so as we are the endpoint somehow of this, the technology provider have to go that direction. Otherwise, they will have nothing. And this happened already these days. I don't take examples, but again, this is how things will be different.
That was the Tech for Good podcast. Listen, subscribe, and rate us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Stitcher.